still? Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Just take a minute to pull up. Just have a few slides. We'll make this brief, just kind of like an infomercial, and explain a little bit about our product, EcoRater. Show of hands, anybody used EcoRater before? Okay, a couple people. It's basically been back east. There's been no representation out west, so it's a product I think, and looking at the information, is going to be huge, especially for bed bugs. It's considered a broad spectrum insecticide. It's also considered green. The active ingredient is gerania oil and then cedar oil. And then it has soap, it's called sodium lauryl sulfate, that carries the product. It's more like a surfactant. But what they found over research, Rutgers, these are independent research, which is important when you're looking at research data as who's doing it, as these are done by USDA. They found out that our product is, I think, out of nine different green products, is by far the best. There's a couple out there you may know called Essentia or Ecovia. The products pale in comparison as far as data for bed bugs. We usually are gotten 98% kill, whereas Essentia, Ecovia was getting 30% kill. Another study out here that was pretty fascinating was Washington State did a study on resistance, bed bug resistance. They took samples from Seattle, from Oregon, and then over in Arizona. And they tested them and found out that our product was better at resistant bed bugs than conventional synthetic pesticides. I think it was tempered in demand with the products tested. So again, it's a huge difference. If you haven't dealt with green products or exempt products, basically there's no restrictions to them. These are natural active ingredients. So you can go anywhere from the cupboard out to the sidewalk. It's an indoor-outdoor product that works just fantastic. Companies are using it actually to spray their shoes or their pant legs if they're going to a bad infested job, and you're just worried about your employees, you know, what they might track back with them. So not only are they using it for to spraying, whether it's the bed, you can spray anything. There's no exemptions to it at all. There's one, it's for surfaces that have food prep on there. You can't spray that, but everything else is applicable for the pesticide. Let me see if I can locate this.
Bed bugs become resistant?
Pardon?
Have they found that bed bugs become resistant?
Not yet. Although I can never say never, but it's a natural product, and Mother Nature maybe has an upper hand with the synthetic products. You know, they're just finding the resistance, the pyrethroids mainly. And I'm not sure why, but as of now, they're not seeing much resistance. They're still showing, I think the study at Washington was the resistant bed bugs, they're getting with the synthetic pesticides somewhere around 30 or 40%, and we were getting 80% kill, or 86%, something like that.
This is something we give to the tenants.
This is, yeah, exactly. I may just skip this presentation, just talk a little bit about it. But it's, they're using it in hotels, motels, and giving it to the maids. They basically do preventative treatments. Again, because there's no restrictions, you're not breaking any rules or really running any risks. The product is considered very low in toxicity. Housing authorities are doing it. I brought up a pamphlet here. Basically, this is dedicated to housing authorities. I think they have, it's close to, well, it's 7 different testimonials from different housing authorities back east. I think they got Georgia, Kansas, Illinois. If anybody does any networking, it might be, I have a ton of these flyers in the back, give them a call and see what they think about it. But they're finding that it's definitely a tool. I don't think it's a standalone tool, but it is something to help out. Again, maybe preventative measures, be proactive. You can do spot treating. But if you have a bad infestation, you're certainly going to want a professional because they do it all the time and they know where to treat the areas. Yeah.
So I asked the pest control company about it, and they said if you use it, it's one of those products that will make the bed bugs go somewhere else other than where they eat. Is that true?
No. What they've generally it would be, but they found through the testing, again, this is Rutgers testing, that it's very, very little repellency to it. naturally would be repellent. I think they did a couple studies where they treated whatever material in a petri dish and put the bed bugs on there, and they split the petri dish where there was no pesticide or there's no insecticide, and then there was Eco-Rare. They did go to the other side, but when put with other pesticides, there was no differentiating. But as you know, with university studies, they do the repetitive testing over and over to make sure that their hypothesis is correct, their studies are. So they had said really there is really little to no repellency to this product, and that's not a concern that I can see.
I have a question. The bottle, because I have some bottles I think that I bought for one of my buildings, and the bottle says that there's residual effects. I think it said up to 2 weeks, but then Molly was saying there's no such thing.
No, there absolutely is. Generally, you're going to get more.
No, there's no
around-
residual. She was talking about with the heat.
I thought she was
There you
talking
go.
about with
No, that was
chemicals,
right. She
too.
was talking about the heat. There's
Yeah,
absolutely.
and with those synthetic insecticides, traditional liquid insecticides, and this is obviously not one of the traditional liquid insecticides.
Okay, so because this is the
traditional,
cedar product, there is residual.
And it depends with each different bedbug population, different types of resistance. But with these essential oil products and these
It's-
natural
yeah.
products, these 25E products, we're seeing a lot of new results, and it's just some universities like Rutgers are really on the forefront of that research.
Right. And this, like I said, is definitely a tool. They definitely show a residual. They're saying 14 days.
Just because that's what I told my tenants. I was like, it's on the bottle. So.
But it is on the bottle. And generally what breaks down chemicals is sunlight and the temperature. And generally, if you're doing indoor opposite treatments for bed bugs, you're not getting those sort of breakdowns. So 14 days is probably not unreasonable. I think some other products would go longer than that. But yeah, as far as heat treating, it wouldn't go that far. But I think the best thing to do, if you're willing to try this, if you got a card or something, we could get you a sample, or there's a website you can go to, and Eco-Rare is happy to send a 16-ounce bottle. It's got a trigger on it, just to get an idea what the product is about. I think they believe in it. I believe in it, and I think through all the studies that have gone on, it's proven that this product is working very well. And again, when you're talking about bed bugs, you're talking about going into somebody's bedroom. You want to have the least toxic, most beneficial product out there, and I think that's why this really fits in there. It's green, it's natural, and it works with others. They do say to incorporate it if you're doing an IPM program, whether you're doing the steaming, the heat treatment, you're doing mattress covers or the box spring covers. This would be another tool to add to it. Or if you can't get to a tenant who's going to get a professional job done with bed bugs, you have to wait a day or two. This would be something you can leave with them and say, "Okay, here you go. Spray this and you see the bed bugs." It kills them instantly. So you're looking at less than a minute probably. So if you're doing a job, you can go back within a minute or two and you'll find that bed bugs are dead. And you do have a bit of a residual to it. Any other questions? Well, I appreciate the opportunity. I've got literature in the back. And again, there's a website if you'd like to get a sample of it to try at your office. Yeah.
Are you in stores or only on website?
Pardon me?
Are you in stores or only on website?
No, we're at distributors, Univar, Target, the pest management professionals. I think there's a couple online as well, like Do It Yourself has it. But mainly we stick with that. We're trying to stick with distributors and work that channel. But I think Custom Bedbugs is going to have the product as well to help service you guys. But definitely worth trying. I think you'll find that it's a nice tool. I don't know if it's a standalone, but it's definitely there to help. And all the literature's in the back. Thanks again, and hope you have a great rest of your day.